Hi, Rena.
Hi. How are you?
Okay, come on in.
Have you heard anything about Mark and Brett?
Not yet. And on top of it, I got a call from my attorney, Gordon Haskins. He wants to meet with me tonight.
The divorce.
Yeah. There are some things I have to deal with right away.
Statue, Brett. Don't worry about it. We'll get it. But you gotta rest.
So important.
So are you, Brett. Hear me? Try to get some sun.
I don't know.
There must be something else we can do for her.
There's nothing we can do except wait. The next few hours are going to be critical. I just hope I got all that poison out of her.
She's gonna be all right. I just know she is. Ricky, you should eat something.
No, thanks.
Why don't you try to get some rest then?
Yeah.
God, please let her be all right.
Hannibal,
Ashley, join me.
we've got to talk.
You sounded so upset over the phone, I was worried.
Don't give me that, Hannibal.
Is there something I can do for you?
There certainly is. Stay away from Allison.
Texas. The first part of Texas is brought to you by the Comfortable Diaper. Love's disposable diapers.
Rena? Mama, what are you doing here?
I could ask you the same thing. It's a little late to be working, isn't it?
I decided to come back to my office and catch up on some paperwork. And to tell you the truth, I thought I'd work off a little excess energy.
Something wrong.
I'm worried about Grant.
Has there been any word on his children?
Not yet.
He must be terribly upset.
I just saw him. He doesn't look very good.
I'm so sorry.
Mama, we have tried every single thing we've thought of, and we keep running into brick walls.
Now, I told Grant that my station is at his disposal.
I know, and he appreciates the offer. He just doesn't think it would be a good idea to go public right now.
Well, the station has an excellent research department. They might be able to locate this place.
Thank you, Mama. I'll tell him that. Right now, he has people from World Oil working on it.
I want to help. Anything I can do. I've always felt close to Ricky, and I had such big plans for his career.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating.
How's Grant holding up?
I don't know how much more of this he can take. He loves those kids.
Honey, he's very lucky to have you. And he said so.
There's some things I can't help with.
Is there something else?
He got a call from his lawyer today.
What's wrong?
More trouble with his divorce?
That's been going on for quite some time,
I
hasn't
know,
it?
Mama, but now the lawyer's calling and saying that he has to talk to him right now.
Oh, no. Couldn't have happened at a worse time.
That's right. So I thought I would just stay here for a while, and then I would drop by his house and see how he's doing.
It's a good idea.
He's so concerned about those children, Mama. And now there's Judith. I mean, who knows what she's going to do?
Sweetheart, try not to worry.
I can't help it, Mama. He can only handle so much, and this is too much.
Gordon, come on in. Brad,
Hope this isn't too inconvenient.
well, it isn't the best time, but then again, you didn't give me much choice, did you?
Oh, I'm afraid not, but I didn't think we ought to wait on this one.
Would you like a drink?
Oh, no, thanks.
Well, then why don't you sit down and let's get this over with.
Good.
I presume that you've been in touch with Judith's lawyers today.
Yes, we've been talking for several days.
What's the urgency?
Well, it's not good news.
Gordon, what do they want?
I've been seeing the direction they've been heading in for several weeks, but today they were quite definite.
What is it?
Judith wants full disclosure of all of your investments and holdings in World Oil.
That's none of her business.
Well, she doesn't agree with you, and nor do her lawyers.
My holdings in World Oil have absolutely nothing to do with Judith. That all happened after the separation.
But you're not divorced. You see, that makes quite a difference.
Gordon, I had no intention of divulging any information about my stock holdings in World Oil.
Well, Judith's adamant.
I don't care. It had nothing to do with her.
She can take legal recourse, you see, and that could end up a very messy business.
What right does she have?
Well, that's for the courts to decide. You're not divorced, you're separated.
What about the settlement we agreed on?
It's a settlement that was based on mutual agreement. Judith no longer agrees.
Oh, boy. What do I do now?
Well, I can tell you what you should have done. You should have gotten the divorce a long time ago.
Well, what about this new demand?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Grant. I'm afraid this one is going to cost you.
Mark, what is it?
I can't take this anymore, Ruby.
Red's gonna be all right. Ricky knows what he's doing.
What happens when she revives, Ruby? Gretchen is still out there waiting.
Don't talk
Who
about
knows who else is out there with her?
it. Mark, there's nothing we can do about it right now.
Oh, yes, there is.
What are you doing?
I'm going after her.
You can't do that.
What am I going to do? I got to take care of my sister. That means I'm going to go after Gretchen first.
Gretchen could kill you.
Yeah, what are we going to do? Sit around here and wait? I'm making the first move, Ruby.
What if you walk right into a trap? Mark, you don't know how she works.
I'm going after her, Ruby.
Ricky, come here.
Ricky, stay there. Everything's fine.
Ricky.
You listen to me. With Gretchen in this cave, none of us are safe.
Just talk to Ricky about it, please.
No, I want him concentrating on Brett.
All right, if you're going, then I'm going with you.
Ruby, you're staying right here.
What if something happens to you?
Nothing is going to happen to me. I'll be very careful, okay?
Mark, I really hate this. I don't think you should go.
Look, Brett's going to need medical attention. We're going to have to deal with Gretchen sometime, okay?
Just talk to Ricky. Find out what he thinks.
Look, you just let him stay right here with Brett. You can tell him after I leave, okay?
Mark, I feel so helpless. Can't I do something?
Yeah, you can. You can help with Brett. You can take care of her for him. Okay?
I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to you. Please don't go.
Come on. Nothing's going to happen. I'll be fine. But there is one thing you could do for me.
What?
Well, it's kind of traditional to give a man a kiss before he goes off on a mission.
Clark, don't joke with me.
I'm not joking.
What you been doing, Gregory?
Nothing.
I see. I think I'd like to rest my head for a little while. Could you give me this pillow, please?
Oh, no, you can't. I can't.
Why? Why can't you?
Because if I gave you this pillow, you know what I was hiding there.
I know.
I'll get you another pillow.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find out why you've been so mysterious. Wouldn't have anything to do with my surprise, would it?
Yeah, and you'll spoil it if you peek.
I promise, Gregory, I'm not gonna peek. I'm just getting very impatient.
Oh, it won't take too much longer.
Good. Gregory, there's something that I've been wanting to talk to you about.
Oh, you want to go over some more plans about the Gregory one?
No. As a matter of fact, I want to go over some plans about Gregory.
You mean me?
Yes, that's right. Gregory, what do you think about this tutor business?
Well, it's okay.
Okay. I tell you, son, I think it's time we made a change.
What do you mean? What kind of change?
I think maybe you should be going to school.
I'm keeping up. I really am.
I know you're a real smart boy, Gregory, but there are other reasons for going to school, you know.
Like what?
Well, you can meet other people your age. Now, that's very important.
I meet a lot of kids my own age at the park and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's not the same thing.
But if I go to school, it will take a lot more time to get done what I already get done with my tutor. It's not efficient.
Gregory, you knew this thing with the tutor was temporary.
I knew that, but I just like it the way it is.
Why?
Because I get to see a lot of you and Ashley. And Allison, if she ever comes back.
Gregory, is there some reason you don't want to go to school?
I told you, it's not efficient.
I think you're keeping something from me.
Well, sort of.
What is it?
Well, I've been to a lot of schools, and the same thing always happens.
What?
Well, I meet a lot of kids, like you said, and then I have to move away and start all over again. It's the way it's been for me.
That's a real bad feeling, isn't it? You don't feel like that anymore, do you?
Thought I did.
No, Gregory, you are here to stay.
I hope so. But a new school and these new kids.
Now, kids aren't the only people that get scared. I get nervous every time I'm supposed to meet a new bunch of people.
No, you don't. You always know what to say.
That's because, Greg. Well, even so, I still get scared.
Really?
Really, that's why I think you should go to school. I want you to learn how to handle any situation at all, because I know you can.
All right, I guess you made another sale.
You're going to do real great, Gregory. There's another thing that we should discuss.
What's that?
Well, Ashley wanted me to ask you if you wanted to go to a public or a private school. Now, I have a list of some pretty terrific private schools. One even has you horseback riding.
Marshall.
Why?
Well, if you want me to meet a lot of different people, wouldn't it be better if I went to a public school?
Why is that?
Because the kids at the private school would be pretty much like me, wouldn't they?
I think you're right.
Besides, I've always gone to private schools. And you should see some of the goofy uniforms you have to wear.
Gregory, I think you made yourself a sale. Anyway, you won't be the new kid in town for long.
How do you know?
Because you've got a real home. It's your home now. And that's going to make everything a whole lot easier.
Can I still help with the Gregory one?
Help? I can't do it without you. Now on, Gregory, everything is going to be just fine.
Promise?
I promise you, partner.
What did you say to me?
I said I want you to stay away from Allison.
I thought you realized you'd never give me orders.
That was before you gave Allison money. I want you to stay away from her, Hannibal.
I find Allison interesting. I would like to help her.
You've never tried to help anybody in your life. I don't want her seeing you again.
I'm quite concerned about Allison and Gregory.
What do you mean?
I think it's important they have a good home life.
Don't give me that, Hannibal.
You can imagine how worried I was when I heard that Allison felt she had to leave your home.
She wanted to be out on her own. That happens with girls Allison's age.
That's why I tried to help her.
No. You tried to buy her.
I beg your pardon.
I know how you operate, Hannibal. And Allison is too upset to accept any favors from you.
In deference to Hildy's memory, I tried to help the girl.
And I'm telling you to keep away. I know what price tag comes with your help.
Watch it, Ashley.
I will do anything. Do you hear me? Anything to keep you away from my sister.
Don't you think it might help Allison to talk to people from her past life? I could tell her about Hildy.
You don't fool me, Hannibal. You don't care about Allison.
Indeed, I do. I'm quite concerned that Allison get the stability she needs at this time of her life.
I'll take care of that.
From the past job you've done, that's not too reassuring.
I love my sister, Hannibal. If we have problems, we'll work them out.
I'm not so sure.
I love her enough to keep her away from slime like you.
You just made a big mistake, Ashley.
Oh, did I? Oh, no, Hannibal. I won't have Allison taking money from you. I won't even have Allison talking to you.
You have no choice.
Oh, don't I? I'll tell her about you. I'll tell her what kind of man you are. I'll tell her that you don't give presents to anyone. There's always a string attached.
You won't tell her anything at all.
Watch me.
Let me make this clear, Ashley. You'll tell Allison absolutely nothing about
I
me.
won't put up with this anymore, Hannibal.
You don't have any power over me, Ashley. You do exactly as I say.
Because of the claim on the money that you have? I'm sick of hearing about the money. I don't care about the money. All I want is peace of mind about my sister and Gregory.
Ashley, I warn you. You try to take that money out of the companies I control, I will go directly to Justin Marshall. I will tell him the truth that you and I know very well. That Gregory Linden is not your cousin. He's your son.
Then we both lose, don't we? I won't touch the money. But I'm going to tell Justin what you are.
That's your risk, Ashley.
And it's a risk that I intend to take.
Rough day?
Yes, you could say that.
Well, then I'll have to do something to cheer you up.
No, I'll be fine.
Good.
I liked what you were playing when I came in. Maybe we could use it on the show.
Speaking of the show, Billy, Joe, and Nita dropped in the other night.
Oh, how nice. Did they have a good time?
Well, they seem to. I'll tell you one thing, Billy Joe is the president of your fan club.
Oh, really? He's a very enthusiastic young man.
Yes, he is, but I had to agree with every word he said.
What was that?
Mainly that you are quite a lady.
Well, he had to say that. I'm his boss.
No, but he meant every word of it. He also said that you were very fair and always had sound advice.
Well, that's very flattering.
You get a lot of respect from the people that work for you, Vicky.
I hope so.
He also said something else that got me to thinking.
What was that?
That you seem very lonely lately.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know what made him say a thing like that. I'm fine.
You sure?
Yes. Oh, perhaps I've been a little preoccupied at work lately, but Aunt, can we change the subject?
We do a lot of that.
What?
Changing the subject. The moment anything gets personal, we talk about something else.
I hadn't noticed that.
I have. I also realize that we really don't know that much about each other.
Well, that's not true. I know about you being in the oil business
See,
before
there you go, changing the subject again. Vicky, we're friends, aren't we?
Yes, of course we are.
I certainly hope so. I know you pick up my evening each time you walk through that door.
You know, I'm going to have to call it an early evening. I'm really more tired than I thought.
And we never talked about our personal lives. I didn't even know you had a daughter until she came in here.
Please, not tonight.
No, Vicky, I think tonight, we should talk about it. And I really would like you to tell me what it is that's bothering you so much.
What can I do for you?
I was hoping that you might have heard something, or Mr. Wheeler might have heard something about Ricky and the rest of them.
No, we haven't.
Oh, darn. I'm so worried about Ruby and them that I don't know what to do.
Well, this is a very difficult time, honey.
It sure is. This waiting is making me crazy. I feel absolutely helpless.
I know how you feel.
I was really hoping that you might have heard something. Hasn't anything happened that could give us a clue?
No, the police have sealed Joel's office. It was broken into by someone. That's all I know about that.
Somebody broke into his office? Now, what does all that mean?
I don't know.
Rena, what are we going to do?
Honey, Grant has a lot of people working on this.
Well, I'm glad Mr. Wheeler is dealing with this.
Well, they'll come up with something.
Oh, I sure hope so. You know, the more I think about this, the more dangerous I think it must be.
You're very concerned about Ruby, aren't you?
I'm worried about all of them. But Ruby is my best friend, and if anything happens to her...
Oh, baby, she'll be all right.
I don't know. Maybe I should have gone with her.
Absolutely not. You did exactly what you could do.
This whole mess is so confusing.
I know that. Have you been able to think of anything else?
I spent all afternoon going over it in my mind. I can't think of another thing. But I've decided that the worst part is waiting with nothing to do.
Well, there was nothing else you could do.
No, that's not true. I've decided to take matters into my own hands.
Now, Lurleen, if you are planning to go to the police, please tell me and Grant before you do that.
I'm not going to do that. I went to the police once before and I wasn't too successful.
Well, then what are you going to do?
I'm going to start a little investigation of my own.
Now, what does that mean?
I intend to find out everything I can about that Gretchen Randolph.
The statue of... Ricky, she's waking up.
It's okay, Brett. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Mark?
It's okay.
Mark?
He's fine, honey. He's sleeping. He's fine.
The statue. Get it. The statue.
Why didn't he tell me he was leaving?
Because he wanted you to stay here with
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have let him go. He shouldn't be out there alone.
for the next part of Texas.
I figure she's the only one I can latch onto that I knew had a part of all this.
That's right.
You see, when Gretchen was holding the gun on Ruby, I thought she'd gone crazy. But what if the whole thing had been a lie?
What do you mean?
What if she'd been lying to us from the beginning? That might not even be her real name.
That's right.
So I decided to find out who she really was.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, I already started. I went to the manager of our apartment house.
What did he say?
Well, that's the strange thing. He didn't even know a thing about her.
Didn't she sign the lease?
That's the thing. He said he didn't know a thing about her. He said a man came and paid 6 months' rent in advance in cash.
But there's no way of tracing it.
And he said the man was very specific about which apartment he wanted.
The one next to yours.
That's right. Now, he didn't mention our names, but he knew the apartment number of her apartment and that it was vacant.
Honey, I think you're on to something.
The man said that a friend of his would be using the apartment, a Gretchen Randolph, and that she wouldn't want to be disturbed.
I'm going to tell Gran about this.
That's not all.
What else?
Well, when we got our apartment, we were told that it would be a real good deal. And that's the truth.
What do you mean?
Well, it turns out that apartment cost a whole lot more than we could ever afford. The manager let out that it costs $2,000 a month. Rena, we only pay $500.
Well, did he say why?
No. I mean, I didn't think that he knew that we only paid $500, and I didn't want to tell him.
Darlene, I think that somebody was setting you up.
There was the fire compass, and our getting that apartment, and Gretchen next door. We were being set up. Now, what I can't figure out is what this is all about, and who's behind it.
Can't you tell me what's wrong, Vicky?
Aunt, really, there is nothing wrong.
No?
No.
Vicky, you are an exceptional woman. You're very successful, but there is something missing.
Does it seem that way to you?
Of course it does. I don't know anything about your daughter, or if you have a family, if there's a man in your life.
Aunt, there are some things that I don't want to talk about.
Look, I know it's painful, but sometimes it helps to talk.
Now you're beginning to sound like Rena.
Well, maybe that's because we both care about you. We can see that you're holding something inside.
Aunt, I have a few problems, but so does everyone else.
Sometimes it helps to share those problems. You'd be surprised at how well people understood.
Like you?
Like me. I'm a very good listener.
Sure you are.
And more importantly, I'm your friend. Let me help.
This is very difficult for me.
Look, I understand that. You're a strong woman and you don't complain, but Vicky, I've learned that sometimes holding things inside is not necessarily a sign of strength.
Rena wants me to talk to her, but I can't do it. She's my daughter, and it's all too close to her.
Is there something about your marriage?
Yes. And the subject's very emotional for Rena, and I'm afraid it might hurt her.
You won't hurt me.
Well, I thought that I had a very sound marriage, that everything was fine.
Yeah?
Apparently, I was wrong.
You're having problems with your husband?
Yes. He travels a lot on business. Well, we'd had our problems in the past, but we'd made a new start. At least that's what I thought.
Vicky, it helps to talk about it. Believe me, I know I've been there.
It seems there's someone else. This is very painful.
I know, you must be asking yourself 1,000 questions.
I don't know how I feel.
Do you think the marriage is over?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Vicky, I'm sorry. I really am.
I thought my whole life was settled and arranged, and now everything's changed.
It's a scary feeling hanging out there in limbo.
I feel so alone. I don't know what's going to happen when he comes back.
Vicky, you're a wonderful woman.
Am I? No. I walk through my life. I go through the motions.
Yeah, but you keep on going. That's good.
I don't know what else to do.
Well, we both know there are other possibilities.
You know, I never thought I could talk to anyone about this.
I'm glad you did. Vicky, you don't ever have to cover up in front of me, okay?
Thank you.
I know how much this hurts.
It does. I can't believe how much it hurts.
Well, evening, Donna.
Hi.
Where were you? I was beginning to worry about you.
I had to go see someone.
And who was that?
The man that gave Allison that money.
Follow the search. Search for Tomorrow, now on NBC. Follow Travis and Liza, shipwrecked on a tropical island of love.
Couldn't you just stay here forever?
Can their private paradise keep them safe from danger? And on The Doctors.
I want you to marry me, Noah, so that our child will have both its parents.
Weekdays on NBC.
Howdy there, Mr. Hannibal. Good evening, gentlemen. Bourbon, I presume.
Well, thank you kindly.
Thank you for stopping by. How are things progressing?
Fine, Hannibal, just fine.
Yeah, we just had a meeting with Justin Marshall. Had a nice, long talk.
And?
And he's agreed to serve as honorary chairman for Ricky Decker's campaign.
Good.
So you can see, Mr. Hannibal, that we have everything just about ready to start.
And very efficiently.
So the question is, what do we do next?
Well, I think you should tell me.
Well, now, I think that's pretty straightforward. First of all, we've got to get the boy in the public's mind.
And in the political context, we have to show them that he's more than just a singer.
I suppose you're right.
You have any other thoughts on the subject?
To tell you the truth, Mr. Barnes, I haven't been giving it much thought.
Mr. Hannibal, I think it's time we have a serious talk.
Yes?
Now, is there any particular reason why you're stalling us on this?
You think I'm stalling you?
Well, we don't seem to be making much progress.
I have been very busy. I've been tied up on a project that's just about to come to a head. As soon as it's resolved, I assure you I'll be able to pay full attention to the campaign.
Well, sir, if you'll excuse me, you're going to have to. Now, the pre-campaign work, setting up the organization, is just as important as the campaign itself.
That's right, Mr. Hannibal. And we need to know that you're behind us.
I've already assured you of that.
Well, now, let me put it another way. Mr. Barnes and I have invested considerable time in this project. Now, we don't like to waste time.
You think I'm wasting your time?
We are concerned. We're doing our part.
And you want to make sure I'm doing mine?
That's right. Now, we ain't real crazy about secrets, Mr. Hannibal. They get in the way.
You seem to have quite a few of them.
Now, we've been right up front with you. We'd appreciate it if you'd be the same with us.
Rena, I was just about to call you.
I was at the office. I thought I'd drop by on my way home and see how you were doing.
I'm glad you did. Would you like a drink?
Please. How did the meeting go with your attorney?
Yeah, not very well.
Want to talk about it?
It's the same old thing, Rena. Judith is making more demands.
What now?
She wants full disclosure of my holdings at World Oil.
What?
That's right.
Well, what does she want that for?
Well, to sweeten the pot, to put more money in the settlement.
I thought that was already taken care of.
Apparently not.
Oh, Grant. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. You certainly don't need this right now.
Well, Gordon tells me that I should have gotten a divorce a long time ago. I just didn't pay any attention. Actually, I avoided the last stages. I just wanted to get out.
And now it's dragging on and on.
Well, I know I'm responsible for the breakup of the marriage.
You've made a mistake. You know, people do that once in a while.
But I really feel that I was fair in that settlement. I really do, Rena.
This isn't your doing, Grant. This is Judith.
She's out for blood. And it isn't the money, although I'm plenty angry about that.
What is it then?
I think that she's doing this just to get at us.
What do you mean?
I think she wants to make it as ugly as possible. Make it hurt.
If you're talking about your children, they're very strong.
Oh, I know. I was thinking of something else.
What?
Rena, this just makes it that much harder for us.
I know. I've been thinking about that, too.
Have you?
Yes, and I don't want you to worry about it. First of all, what we have is very solid. We can get through this. And secondly, you have too much on your mind right now.
Did you talk with Lurleen?
Yes?
Well, did she have anything to add?
I think she has a possible lead.
What?
She's been asking a lot of questions, and I think she's on the right track. She wants to find out everything she can about Gretchen Randolph.
What would you like to do?
Oh, something cold porter.
I got a kick out of you.
Great. You're on.
Yeah.
Thank you. I get no kick from champagne. Mere alcohol doesn't thrill me at all. So tell me, why should it be true? I get a kick out of you. Some like their perfume from Spain. I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, it would bore me terrifically too. That I get a kick out of you.
Lurleen said that Gretchen is the only one she's absolutely sure is involved in this whole thing. But then she realized how little she really knows about her.
Well, what does she know about her?
Nothing conclusive, but it's very interesting.
What?
Lurleen went to the manager of her apartment building to ask about Gretchen. It turns out that Gretchen didn't rent the apartment herself. Some man showed up and paid 6 months' rent in advance, in cash.
Well, that means that we have nothing to check into.
Right. But then Lurleen found out something else. Apparently, when Lurleen and Ruby rented their apartment, the agent said they were getting some special kind of deal. Right now, they're paying $500 a month for their apartment, but the manager let it slip that an apartment that size and that location should go more for $2,000 a month. Now, it seems to me that whoever is behind Gretchen Randolph also wanted to keep close tabs on Lurleen and Ruby.
Well, that makes sense.
There's more. The man who rented the apartment was very specific on the actual location. He wanted it right next door to Lurleen and Ruby.
Well, then there's the connection. But, Lena, why or what would anybody want with those two particular girls?
Well, I think that they were after that fire compass that Ginny was talking about.
Did Lurleen mention how Gretchen got a hold of that thing in the first place?
No, I don't think that Lurleen even knew where it came from.
Now, that might be the key to the whole thing.
All right. I'll talk to Lurleen again.
Please do.
Maybe this is the break we're looking for.
Yes, if it tells us whoever is behind this thing. And also whatever it is that they're after.
And who was it that gave Allison that money?
A man named Hannibal.
Who's that?
Would you like a drink?
Oh, yeah, please. Well, who is this Hannibal?
He handled my Aunt Hildy's finances for years.
You mean he's here in Houston?
He's been there for several months. He's not a good man, believe me.
Why do you say that?
Because I know him. He's despicable.
You're really fired up about him, aren't you?
You bet I am. Oh, he's powerful, all right. But he only uses it to push people around.
Well, how well do you know him?
Well, like I said, he handled Aunt Hildy's finances. He takes responsibility for the inheritance left to me and Allison, Gregory.
How come you never told me about this before? That's real strange.
I didn't want you to collide with him.
Why?
Justin, you don't know what this man is like.
Actually, I can handle powerful men. That's my business.
Justin, please. I don't even like to talk about this man.
Well, you say that he handled Aunt Hildy's finances. She must have trusted him, huh?
But I don't, okay?
You know, I think I'd like to meet this guy.
What, Justin?
You say he's as powerful as he is. He knows his way around money. I can't afford not to.
Justin, please.
Especially if he's involving himself with my family.
Justin!
Well, I think I'll check this guy out.
Justin, have you not been listening to a word that I've been saying?
If this guy is as tough as you say he is, Ashley, Marshall Oil could use it.
No.
Why not? You know the old adage. It's better to have the man on the inside of the tent spitting out rather than having him spitting in.
Justin, listen to me. This man is dangerous. He's not getting anywhere near Marshall Oil.
We are in the big leagues now. We can't afford to be afraid of powerful men.
Listen to me. He can hurt us. I'm telling you the truth.
No, I just think you're overreacting because he gave a little money to Allison.
No, it's more than that.
I can see your point. I mean, he interfered, but you're just going to have to see mine, darling.
Justin, promise me that you will not see that man.
I can't do that, darling. You say this man is powerful. I'm just partial to powerful people.
Stay tuned. Texas will be right back.
Give me that. He's gone.
This part of Texas was brought to you by New Formula Era, a new combination of powerful cleaners. Cleaners that will work hard on your whole wash, all concentrated into 1/4 cup. Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Texas.
Tuesday, Maverick.
Some southwest into northeastern Indiana. Thunder showers were scattered along the leading edge of this area from Harbor Beach southwest through Jackson to Angola, Indiana. Movement of the showers have been to the northeast at 25 miles an hour. Here's the marine forecast. Forecast winds for the offshore waters of southern Lake Huron. Gale warnings are in effect. Southerly winds 25 to 35 knots this afternoon, increasing to 30 to 40 knots tonight, becoming southwest 25 to 35 knots on Wednesday. Showers and thunder showers developing this afternoon and tonight. waves 3 to 6 feet, increasing to 5 to 9 feet tonight. For Lake St. Clair, southerly winds 20 to 30 knots this afternoon, increasing to 25 to 35 knots.
There's honey for the biscuits if you'd prefer it, Ryan.
No, thanks, dear. These strawberry preserves are great.
What about you, Jenny?
All I really want is coffee, thanks.
But you really should eat something, especially if you're going to drive all the way into town to Miles' funeral.
Well, it's not a funeral, it's a memorial service.
You sure you don't want me to go with you? After all, I did know the man, even though I wasn't as friendly to him as I should have been.
You had your reasons.
I misjudged him.
That wasn't your fault, Kate.
I could drive you in. I'm going into town anyway. I want to see Lurleen. I'm concerned about her.
What's wrong with her?
I don't know. But she's been keeping secrets and lying to everyone. That's not like Lurleen.
Sure isn't.
Well, I think it's time I have a good talk with her.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I want to know exactly what's going on.
Ginny, since Kate's going into Houston, why don't you wait a while and you can ride in with her?
No, thank you both, but this is something I'd rather do on my own.
Thank you. No, what I want you to do is concentrate your efforts on Gretchen Randolph and the people who are behind her. Yeah, that's right. All right, keep in touch. And, Barker, remember, every second counts.
I take it Barker hasn't been able to turn up anything yet.
No, but he's got his best men working on it.
Well, what about Gretchen's apartment? Wasn't there anything there?
No? What you told me yesterday. It was all cash. There are no receipts, no records, no nothing.
Very professional.
Yes, it was.
No leads, huh?
No. Oh, the real estate agent came up with a description of the man who did conduct the transaction.
Is that it?
Huh? Afraid so.
Grant, don't you think it's about time we go to the police?
No. Not yet. But if I don't come up with something, I'm afraid I'm going to have to.
The Miocene with the Vaquero sandstone and the clay, and then it's the Pliocene, and then what's next? Miles, you know the answer. Help me.
It's all right, Brett. I'm here.
El Dios de Oro. He knows. He knows. It's Mayan, or else it. Oh, you tell them, Miles. El Dios de Oro. Él tiene la respuesta. The answer. The answer. Ricky.
Brett. Do you know me?
Yes, I know you. Yes.
How do you feel?
That's not important right now. Now listen to me, Ricky. The statue, the one by the pond, do you have it?
No, we left it back there when you were bitten by the snake.
You have to get it.
Brett, there's lots of time.
No, there isn't any time. Ricky, listen, you have to get the statue, because without the statue, we're not...
Brett, no, you can't stand. You're too weak.
You gotta get the statue.
All right, Brett. All right, if it's that important to you, we'll get the statue.
You promise? Please?
Yes. Brett, I promise. I'll get the statue. Rest.
Statue.
I'll get the statue.
El Dios de Oro. Él muestra el camino. Yes, Miles, you tell him. Professor Enquist. Floods came next. And then snakes. Isn't that right? Isn't it? Miles?
It's right. Anything you say, it's right.
Texas. The first part of Texas is brought to you by the first powder detergent with the full-strength fabric softener built right in. Bold 3. Cleans, softens, controls static. Bold 3.
Howdy, ladies. We saw your sign. We knew you weren't open. But we thought you might take pity on a couple old boys who were just drying a roughneck on a suitcase rock.
Hi, Mr. Barnes, Mr. Vidra, come on in.
I told you, Boots, this pretty lady has an hospitable heart.
The usual?
Oh, yeah. You know, Boots, the more I in this little place, the more I feel at home.
You know, now, funny that you should say that, Hawker, because I was just thinking we ought to turn this place into our regular base of operations.
Oh, well, that'd be just fine with me.
Oh, little missy, I tell you, you're a real lifesaver.
Yes, sirree, that's what you are.
Well, I'm glad to be of service.
Now, where's that pretty little partner of yours?
She's away.
Still? Boy, howdy, I tell you, she's sure hard to pin down.
But what do you hear from Ricky?
Yeah, well, now, last time we were here, you told us that he was up in the Panhandle visiting kinfolk.
Seems like he'd been gone quite a while. Or maybe those relatives are doing more poorly than he thought.
Maybe, I don't know, I hadn't heard.
How about you? That brother of yours been in touch about them relatives up in Armstrong County?
No. No, I haven't heard from him at all.
Well, that's good, because if it was anything serious like a funeral, I'm sure he'd send word.
Well, we just stopped by to wet our whistles. Gotta be getting along.
We're going to give this place a lot of serious thought. There you go.
Oh.
Now, just hold on to that, little missy.
Yeah, this place may need to be gussied up a little bit. But once you've had the painter in, it could be about the finest meeting place in all of Houston.
Well, I don't want to make any changes. I like the coop the way it is.
Well, so do we, little darling, but everything in life can stand some improving.
We'll make up a list and go over it together.
And someday when you and that pretty little partner of yours can spare the time.
Yep. Goodbye, ladies. Thank you for the Texas welcome.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
How are you? You think painting will be enough?
Well, I'll tell you.
What was that all about?
I don't know. But I like the coop just fine. I don't want anybody coming in here and making changes.
Right, here we are. Okay, let me get the light.
Where do you want me to put it?
Oh, right there, by Madame Laconga.
Are you sure you don't want me to take you home? It's no problem.
No, I called Paige and I told her since our flight was so early, I would come straight here and open up the shop. Anyway, I can take this stuff home later if I want to.
Well,
Oh.
have you any idea how successful this trip was?
Well, I don't know how successful it was, but I sure had fun.
Does that surprise you?
Oh, I was petrified before we left.
Well, you didn't have any reason to be.
Well, I know that now. I had no idea what I was getting myself in for. I really thought I would make a fool of myself.
Well, you didn't.
Yeah, I guess not.
They loved you. And more important than that, they loved your designs.
We certainly sold a lot, didn't we?
You are going to be a major force in the fashion world.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
You know, you'd better get used to the idea of being a celebrity. You're going to be one before long.
Roger, this is all happening much too fast. Billy Joe!
Hi, Billy Joe.
Hi. Listen, honey, I'm sorry I couldn't pick you up at the airport, but, well, I couldn't get a sitter for Billy Joe Jr. until about 8:30.
It's all right. It's all right.
Well, did you have a nice trip?
Oh, your wife was sensational. With her looks and personality, this is going to be the easiest marketing campaign I've ever run. What do you mean? Well, your wife's natural. I mean, she had those buyers eating out of her hand. They loved her.
Well, sounds like everything went real well, huh?
Oh, honey, it did. Oh, I never had so much fun in my whole life.
Hi, what are you doing here?
I'm a very impatient man, Paige.
Well, you are.
Uh-huh. I've given you enough time to think.
Oh, a couple of days isn't very long.
It seems like an eternity.
TJ,
Paige, look, I know you pretty well. You must have reached some decision by now.
You're right, I have.
In that case, can I come in? I'd like to know what the decision was.
Well, I thought this was a business trip. What did you do that was so much fun?
Oh, it was all fun. There was the meeting of the clients, and there was the giving of the interview.
Yeah, your wife left a trail of broken hearts. Do you remember that guy at Forster's in Chicago?
The vice president with the champagne.
You had that poor man mesmerized.
You know, I think I did. You wouldn't have believed it, Billy Joe. This very distinguished gentleman kept acting like I was some sort of glamorous movie queen.
Well, what's so funny about that, huh? I mean, you are glamorous, huh?
Well, no, I guess you had to be there because this little guy kept bringing me these hors d'oeuvres.
And filling your champagne
I mean,
glass.
I could not get rid of him.
Oh, you got rid of the champagne, though. You poured it in the aquarium.
Roger, that is not true.
Oh, yes, it is. Somewhere in Chicago, there's a very happy goldfish.
Well, I can see you two had a pretty good time up there, huh?
I got to get a move on. It's going to be a busy day.
Oh, it is?
Yep. I got a feeling I'm going to be getting a lot of orders for your designs.
Well, I hope you're right.
Oh, I am. I know talent when I see it. And when it's packaged as attractively as you are, well, then I know I got a winner on my hands. I'll give you a call a little later.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for letting Nita go. She had a wonderful time.
Yeah, well, looks to me like you both had a wonderful time.
What was that business about Ricky being up in the Panhandle visiting some relatives? I don't know. We don't even have relatives in the Panhandle.
You don't?
No, why would you say something like that?
It was Ruby's idea.
Ruby's? Well, then why would she say something like that?
Well, I don't know. She said that Ricky wanted him to think that. You see, those two men have some kind of investment in Ricky's career, and Ruby said that if they came around to pretend like he was up in the Panhandle visiting relatives, so that's what I did.
Oh. You seem upset, Lurleen.
I am. I don't know what to do about those two men wanting to make changes here at the coop. Now, if Ruby were here, she'd know how to stop them. But I don't know how I can do it on my own.
But you're the owner of the coop. Now, you don't have to make any changes unless you want to.
I really like Mr. Barnes and Mr. Boudreau. They've been so nice to me. I want to keep them happy if I can.
You do keep them happy. You keep all your customers happy by making them feel so welcome here.
I just don't think the coop would work if it were all painted and fancy. There are plenty of fancy places in Houston. The coop is special.
You're right. The coop is kind of homey. You know, people come here to relax and just let their hair down.
No, I wouldn't be happy working in a fancy place. The coop's
suits me. It's plain and everyday. Now, don't go putting yourself down. I'm not. It's just that I know what I am, and I'm nothing special. But that's where you're wrong. You are very, very special.
You're just saying that to make me feel good.
No, I'm not. Now, I'm being serious, Lurleen. You're very special. Look, you care about your friends. You care about people.
Of course I do. Doesn't everybody?
No. No, they don't. You know, you have this unique way of making everybody feel real important. You know, you bring out the best in people. And that's about as special as you can get.
I don't know. She could be anywhere. This place is a regular labyrinth.
I know, it makes me nervous. Well, at least she's got one less gun.
You know, Ruby, I had her. I had her and I let her get away.
It was my fault.
No, it wasn't your fault. You were only trying to help.
No, if I hadn't screamed out like that, she might not have slipped away from you.
Right. And then she would have killed me. Ruby, you saved my life.
She's asleep now, but the fever seems to be breaking. She's having lucid moments.
Thank God. Did she say anything?
Yeah, she asked about the statue. It must be awful important to her.
Why?
I don't know, but she made me promise I'd go recover it for her.
You're not going to go risk your life for the statue, are you?
I promised her, Ruby.
But, Ricky, that pond is filled with snakes. They're poisonous.
I know.
They almost killed Brett.
Ricky, I'm gonna take care of this.
That won't be necessary.
Look, you stay with Brett. She needs you. Ruby and I can take care of that statue.
I'm not going anywhere near those snakes.
Ruby, Brett is the only one that can find our way out of here. If she said she needs that statue, then we better get it for her.
I hate snakes.
Fine, I'll go by myself.
Now, wait a minute. I'm the one that should be going with you.
No.
I think somebody should stay here in case Gretchen comes.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Well, after yesterday's encounter, I hope we scared her off for a while.
No, I wouldn't count on it. That girl doesn't scare easy. Believe me, I should know.
Here, take this.
Thanks. Look, you keep an eye out, okay?
I'll be right there with her. Good. You ready?
About as ready as I'm ever gonna be.
Let's go.
I'm warning you, though, if those snakes so much as look at me, I'm not gonna be responsible for what I do. I've been doing a lot of thinking about our relationship the last couple of days.
So have I. Even when I should have had my mind on other things.
I know what you mean.
Sometimes I'll be sitting at my desk in my office, going over some oil leases, and all of a sudden, right down there in the fine print, all I see is Page Marshall, Page Marshall, Page Marshall. It can be very distracting.
So can you. I've been kind of glad that Nita's been away the last couple of days. I've done some pretty strange things at the boutique myself.
So where do we go from here?
Oh, TJ, you know I love you. But you hurt me. You and Ashley both hurt me by withholding the truth from me.
Paige, there was nothing
I know that. It wasn't the relationship, it was the lie.
We had to lie for Ashley's sake.
I understand that. Don't forget, I know Justin better than anybody. I'm his sister. I know you had to lie to protect their marriage. But it's a problem, TJ, and it's going to continue to be a problem.
For Justin and Ashley, yes.
You don't think that lie is ever going to come between us?
It's not our lie.
I've also been doing a lot of thinking about worrying about Justin and Ashley's marriage.
And?
And I finally just had to put it aside. I mean, if you spend so much time worrying about other people's troubles, then you can let your own life pass you by. And I think it's worth the risk. I mean, what we have can be very special.
It already is very special.
And I think we should just build on that. We know the dangers and we know the people that could be easily hurt.
So we'll just have to
and
do
I
something
love
to
you
avoid
so
that.
much, T.J. Canfield.
Paige.
Now, but wait a minute. Before I make any kind of commitment to you, I want something from you, T.J.
What?
I want to promise no more lies, no more secrets.
You have my word. I can't live with lies, Paige. That's why I insisted on telling you the truth. I've waited so long to find someone like you. Someone that I could love. A few days ago, I thought I was going to lose you. I couldn't have handled that.
Neither could I, darling.
Ryan, what are you doing here?
Oh, just working. I gotta finish up these contracts for Rena.
Well, why don't you go in the study? There's a desk and everything.
I like it better out here.
Isn't it more convenient in there?
Well, it's kind of lonely in there. See, when I work here, I feel a little closer to you, especially when you're gone.
Honey, I'm sorry you were lonely.
How was the service, huh?
Very sad. It was almost as... It didn't even seem like it was like Miles. As a person, I mean. Oh, there were a few professors there from the university and students, and talked about his work and his reputation. It didn't seem like many of them even knew him very well.
Does that surprise you?
No. Well, I suppose not. Just that so many of the kids were like Brett. They just adored Miles.
Well, that was his professional side, but his personal side was a lot different. See, the real Professor Rehnquist was a mystery. He kept everybody at arm's length.
No, I didn't.
Honey, he kept secrets. Secrets always come between a man and the people who love him.
It wasn't his fault.
I didn't say it was.
You resent those secrets, don't you? You resent the fact that he shared them with me.
I wish you'd trusted me.
I promised Miles I wouldn't betray his confidence, not even to you. Honey, he was frightened. He had the knowledge of Haitopa, and he knew it was dangerous, and he didn't want to put other people in danger.
But he did, didn't he? And now Miles is dead, and maybe 4 other people are dead.
Oh, no, Ryan.
Honey, was it really worth it keeping the secret?
Are you okay? Huh?
Okay, so far.
I don't see any snakes.
I don't either. Yet.
Come on. Let's look for that statue.
I wish I knew why we were doing this.
Look, you hold on to the gun. I'm gonna go in and see what I can find.
No, Mark, don't go in there.
Ruby, you got any other suggestions?
No, the snakes, they could come up any minute. They could be right under the surface.
I doubt it.
Mark, you can't trust snakes.
No, you're right.
the next part of Texas. And now, the next part of Texas.
Oh, Grant. If only we knew where Hydropar was. But you've seen that map room. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, no, but we're going to find it. When we do, I'm going there.
And I'm going with you.
Oh, no, you're not.
Grant.
Rena, there are too many people that I care about that are already in danger. I'm not adding you to that list. Just a minute. Yes? Oh, put him on. It's my attorney. Yeah, Gordon, what can I do for you? Was there any way we can avoid that? All right, then let's meet it head on. Call my accountant. He's got all the information you need. Yeah. What? Gordon, I don't think that I can deal with any more bad news right now. What is it? What? She what? What does she want to do that for? Well, I don't suppose I can stop her, can I? All right. All right. Goodbye, Gordon.
And now the divorce.
Yeah. Judith claims that she's worried about Brett and Mark. And she won't be satisfied until she comes here to Houston.
Ruby! Get over here! Go to the side! Give me your hand! Hurry!
Gretchen!
Lurleen,
Oh, Miss Kate!
I hoped I'd find you here this afternoon.
What are you doing in Houston?
I want to have a talk with you
What about?
about a lot of things, Lurleen.
What's wrong? You seem really upset about something.
I am.
Can I get you ginger ale?
No, thank you, honey.
Well, what is it? What is it you wanted to talk to me about?
Ruby and Mark have gone to that Indian place, haven't they? They've gone to help Ricky and Brett. You know that.
Well, how did you know that?
Well, it doesn't make any difference how I know it. But you know it too, and you've known it all along.
Yes, ma'am. I have.
And you know a lot about Miles Rehnquist too, don't you?
Why are you asking me all this?
Because I want to know why you're lying to everyone.
I really had a great time. I really loved every minute of it. And in 2 weeks, we're going to do it all again.
What do you mean?
We're going to be going back to New York City and Chicago.
Why?
Well, we have to do some follow-up calls, and Roger's setting up some more interviews. He might even be getting me on one of those syndicated talk shows in Chicago.
Nita, you said you didn't want to do a TV show.
Oh, when did I say that?
When I asked you to be on my show and you turned me down.
Oh, that's different.
How's it different?
Well, I wasn't ready then.
And you're ready now.
Uh-huh. I learned a lot from this trip. But the most important thing I learned is that I have absolutely nothing to be frightened of.
Nita, you didn't have anything to be frightened of before. I would have been there with you all the time.
No, honey, that's not what I mean. I made a lot of discoveries about myself from this trip.
Like what?
Well, I found out I really am a very talented designer, and I have a lot to give.
Well, you sure have come a long way from waiting tables at Maggie's.
Does that bother you?
No. What bothers me, Nita, is that you're taking another trip.
But, honey, we talked all about this before.
I know we talked about that, but we didn't talk about you and this Roger guy getting so friendly.
Of course we're friendly. We're business associates.
Yeah, well, me and Justin are business associates, too, but you don't see me kissing him goodbye.
Oh, you. Honey, that's just the way the people in the fashion industry act. It doesn't mean anything. Come here. Don't you know that you're the most important man in the world to me? Don't you know that?
2 weeks, Nita?
Honey, I'm happy now. Can't you be happy for me? Huh?
I never meant to harm anyone.
I know.
It's just that I wanted to protect you. Miles and I wanted to protect all of you.
But you can't protect people by keeping them in the dark. If you and Miles had just told us, maybe we could have done something.
I don't know. Just that all those people that were after Miles were so determined. They were so violent.
But your secrecy didn't save Miles, did it?
No. But it may save other lives. When I realized that Steve had that fire compass in his possession.
Honey, if you had talked to Steve, he would have known what the fire compass was, and he could have given it back to Miles.
I don't know. Maybe you're right, Ryan. I'm just so confused. I feel...
No, look, I'm sorry. Here I am dumping all this guilt on you. You're not to blame. I know that.
But it was my decision.
No, I should have been here. I never should have gone to Venezuela. Then you wouldn't have been forced to make this whole decision on your own.
Yes. Yes. If we would have found him in the storm that night, and we could have faced this danger together.
No. It's over. It's over. I've got to stop dwelling on what's over and done with, that's all.
But it's not over. What about Ricky and Brett and
We're going to do
Mark?
everything we can to help them.
I talked to Grant about the security force.
No, we have to do more. We just have to concentrate, try to remember everything that Miles said.
All right.
And there's one more thing we have to do.
What?
We have to promise each other that we're never going to let a secret come between us again.
Never again. This is where it ends for me. Chrissy!
Nita, I'm trying to be happy for you, but it's not easy. Not when I'm so worried about us.
There's nothing to be worried about.
Nita, I'm afraid of your success. I'm afraid it's going to get in the way of our marriage.
There's no need to be. Your success doesn't get in the way. Why should mine?
That's just the point, Nita. My success is getting in the way. What with all the pressure, all the preparation time it takes, all those nights I'm spending taping those stupid commercials for Ace High Gas Pump Bingo. Nita, it's taking its toll.
But we're living with it, aren't we? Huh?
So far, yeah. So far, we're living with one success, but I don't think we can hold up under two.
Yes, we will. We're gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it work. We'll see.
Well. You made it. How's the world doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty well.
Well, it must agree with you. You look terrific.
I feel terrific. I've never had so much fun in my whole life.
Oh, honey.
The first afternoon when we got to New York, we had 5 meetings.
Hey, look, I got to get
Then-
going. I got to get back to the studio, all right?
Oh, can't you stay a couple more minutes?
No, I got to get the show to do. I can't keep people waiting. You understand that, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye, Billy Joe.
Bye.
Well, what was that all about?
I just told Billy Joe I'd be taking another trip, and, well, he didn't take it too well.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. I'd hoped he'd be more understanding.
Well, he's trying, I know that, but it's hard for him. Oh, I don't understand this. I thought success was supposed to solve your problems. not create new ones.
I never wanted to lie about anything. I hate lying.
Well, if you hate it so much, what made you do it?
I had to.
There is no justification for lying, Lurleen.
Yes, ma'am.
Now then, I want the truth.
What about?
Everything.
You mean about Professor Rehnquist?
Well, that's as good a place as any to start with.
Yes, ma'am. I suppose I can start there.
Well?
Well, I only met Professor Rehnquist once. He came to our apartment looking for something, only Ruby and me didn't know what for.
It was the fire compass.
Yes, ma'am. We found that out later on.
Well, what happened when Professor Rehnquist came to your apartment?
Well, he went away. Then one afternoon, I came back to the apartment and I found him lying on the floor dead on my painting cloth in the living room.
Why didn't you call the police?
I was too scared. I went and got Ruby and we came back and the body was gone. Ruby thought that, well, we both thought that I had imagined it. And that's why I went to see Dr. Ohlendorf, the psychiatrist, and he convinced me that I was hallucinating.
But you weren't hallucinating, were you?
No, ma'am. But we didn't know that for sure until Ruby was kidnapped.
Ruby was kidnapped?
Yes, ma'am. By our next-door neighbor, Gretchen Randolph.
Well, Brian told me about Gretchen, but I find that hard to believe.
Well, so did we. But when Ruby was kidnapped, that's when we found out that Professor Rehnquist was really dead and that Gretchen did it.
Well, why didn't you go to the police then?
I did. Ruby went with me, but I guess they didn't believe me.
Poor child. Now, why didn't you come to me?
I couldn't. I promised Ruby that I wouldn't get anybody else involved.
Don't you see now what that girl has put you through? The pain that she's caused you?
She hasn't caused me any pain. She's my friend.
Honey, Ruby is no friend to you. No true friend.
She is my friend. She is the best friend that I've ever had, and now I may lose her forever.
I hate to see you
I never should have let her go to Haitopa alone. She's gonna get killed, and it's all gonna be my fault.
Lurleen. Honey, why don't you come back to the ranch with me? Now, Jenny and Ryan are there. We can see you through this.
No. I have to stay here. If Ruby needs help, she's gonna call here or at the apartment.
Honey, I hate to see you so upset.
Ruby's the one you should be worried about.
Sorry, Lurleen. Honey, I didn't mean to scold.
I know you meant well.
You know, I feel like you're my own granddaughter.
Sometimes I feel like that too. Miss Kate, what am I gonna do if anything happens to Ruby?
Well, it's not surprising that Judith is concerned about her children.
And when she gets here, she's gonna be in an awful lot of trouble.
Is she really that vindictive?
Oh, yes, she can be.
Why?
Well, I wasn't exactly the perfect husband.
And you're not the one who went off with someone half as young as you were.
Oh, well, that probably gave her enough cause to do that. You see, ours wasn't exactly the equal partnership. I'm afraid she carried most of the burden.
I don't believe that.
Oh, that's true. I was so wrapped up in my business life that I left the children and the house pretty much up to her. I didn't have any time for my family.
According to modern psychologists, it's not the quantity of time, but the quality of time.
You sure have a habit of saying the right things at the right time.
I'm not flattering you. I'm telling you the truth. I know. It was the same way with Stryker. He was gone a lot. But whenever he was there, we had some good times.
Zella, you haven't heard from Stryker, have you, or have you?
Not since he's gone to Cuernavaca.
You want to talk about that?
If you don't mind, I'd rather not. Not right now. I'd rather talk about us.
Stay tuned. Texas will be right back. This part of Texas was brought to you by Zest, the deodorant bar that leaves no sticky soap film, so you feel really clean. Join us each weekday at this time for the continued.
On Thursday. Now for the local forecast. The forecast for Detroit and the metropolitan area, partly